go through that list and figure out what might be best for you right now. What's going to give you the most value and what's going to compound over time. Welcome to the follow through. Every episode, we dive into the challenges, opportunities, and strategies that help business owners save time, reduce stress, and grow. Let's jump in. So on Monday, we started talking about really just planning, and I reference it as winter planning only because it's kind of how my brain thinks about it. And all the contractors, service contractors, we don't all live in an area where we have this hard winter season where, not that we don't necessarily have anything to do, but work slows down dramatically. We're not really going out into the field as much. And for what I was doing in the pond service business, and I'm sure landscapers and stuff like that, like work pretty much shuts down. So we have all of this time to like think about things that we want to start implementing. Good morning, Jesse. How you doing? Nope. Mr. No Days Off. I do take days off. Yesterday I didn't do too much. But we think about all of these things that we want to start implementing in our businesses, and the list gets longer and longer and longer and longer. And sometimes, not sometimes, you just totally get overwhelmed. And then Wednesday, we talked a little bit more about that. And today, Wednesday, we really talked about how to change our mindset. Instead of thinking about it as a to-do list, think about that list, that implementation list, as an investment versus an actual to-do list that you need to check off and get done in this short amount of time. Because even though in the wintertime you have like maybe two months, maybe 3 months, those go really fast. And if your company or your business is in an area where you don't have that long of a time, you don't have a ton of time to implement things, and you might have this really long list, and it may look like you have time to do it, but in reality, I can tell you from experience, you do not have as much time as you think, because it goes so fast, so fast. So Wednesday, again, we talked about shifting your mindset. It's not a to-do list. It's an investment. It's an investment in your company and what that investment looks like. And today I want to just kind of go over, kind of rethink and go through that list and figure out what might be best for you right now. What's going to give you the most value and what's going to compound over time. And the best way to do this, and the best way to set yourself up to figure out what is going to be best for you to start implementing now, is first, clearly start with an entire list. Write everything down, and you want to write it all down. You want to get it out of your head, because if it's in your head, no one else knows about it. And for me, it's like a jumbled mess in my head. You have this. Get it down, write it down, so that you can look at it and figure out what's going to be best for you. And you don't necessarily have to write it down, but put it in a place that you can go to and look at the entire picture, so you're not looking at pieces of it in your brain. I like to write it down or type it out. And I like to do that because then I kind of remember it. And when I do that mentally, it takes it from my brain, puts it on paper, and then my brain forgets about it, because I know that it's written down somewhere and I can go back to it. I don't need to remember it. What I've actually started doing, which has been awesome, is using ChatGPT. So I've created a project in ChatGPT and for me, it's called the Mind Dump. It's actually called Clay's Brain Dump. And I use the chat function. It's kind of crazy, but I will have conversations with GPT, just dump everything out of my brain and then have it create a list for me. And I will go back to it every couple days, or even every day. I'll go into it and just add things to the list, and then it will recreate a list for me, so I don't have to recreate it. I tell it what I did, what we're starting to do. So that's what I do to get it out of my head, because once it's out of my head, it doesn't drive me super, super crazy. So first thing you want to do, get yourself in a full list, an entire list of things you want to do and you want to implement it, because you can't you truly can't really prioritize anything unless you actually fully acknowledge it. So getting it out on paper, getting it somewhere where you can get it out of your brain and on a piece of paper. That way you have somewhere to go to look at it. The next thing you need to do is you need to figure out how to narrow this list down. And you only want to take those things out that are going to help give you your time back right now. You want it to create financial value in your company, because if it's not creating some kind of financial value, it's not going to last. And most of this list, if it can't give you those two things, it really may not be worth doing right now. Leave it on the list, because maybe down the line it will, but right now in your company, wherever your company might be, if those things can't do those, if it can't give you your time back and it can't create some kind of financial value, it's probably not going to last. Or whatever kind of value you might see. So if that particular item is not going to provide you any value, it's not going to stick. You're not going to keep doing it. Your team's not going to keep doing it because you don't see value in it. So go through that list and maybe just use a star or a check mark, or maybe, like, I don't know, a stop sign or a red dot that says, no, this is something we're going to hold off onto. So there's also things and items that you need to ask yourself that might completely disqualify a project immediately. Some projects might just not be good for you right now. And it's not because they're bad, but because maybe they don't fit your company right now. So before I really go through this, and I'm going to hit on some things, but if it's going to require ongoing motivation from you or your team, it's not probably going to survive. And what I mean by ongoing motivation, because anything new you try is going to need motivation, right? So you're going to need to motivate yourself. You need to motivate your team. But as it progresses and as you fine tune whatever you're trying to do, your motivation to it, because you're going to see the value in it, is going to go away. So if you're constantly needing to motivate yourself to get it done, you're probably not going to continue doing it. And also, if you need to remember to do it consistently over and over and over again, you're probably not going to continue to do it either. So whatever you're trying to implement, there needs to be a plan in place to kind of try to get it off your plate, especially as a business owner, maybe into someone else's hands, but then there's got to be a way to make it easier. And with that said, as I'm saying, pass it on, there needs to be a clear owner to this project, to this implementation. Someone is going to own it. Someone's going to implement it. Someone's going to work it out. Someone's going to plan it. If there is no clear owner to it, it's not going to last either. And those couple of things, and clearly if there's no time or money value to it, you're probably not going to stick with it anyway. So you might want to just kind of check it off your list and kind of put it into the maybe later pile, because maybe later it will help you. As we're going through this, though, and this is kind of like a sidetrack to it, to this whole list thing, right? How do you know if you're doing too much? Because sometimes we have these lists, and I'm breaking this down to 2 or 3. That's what I normally do, and that doesn't mean you can't do more, because if you have a bigger team, you probably can implement more than 2 to 3 things. But 2 to 3 things I have seen has worked very well for me, because you concentrate on it, you get it to a point to where it's functioning properly, it's providing value, it's saving time, it's either saving money or producing money, and it's fully implemented, and you can move on to the next thing. But how do you know if you're doing too much of this? And you're going to know you're doing too much if you feel completely scattered and your progress is really going nowhere. So if you're starting them and then you're not finishing some things, if you have to revisit the same thing over and over again, if you're super busy trying to implement all of these things, but nothing feels grounded or solid, and if your energy is getting divided into 1,000 different things and you're not focused on a couple of things, that is how you're going to know if you're doing too much. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the things you're starting to implement, you're doing too much. Maybe pull one off the table, pull another one off the table, and just concentrate on one thing. So what you definitely don't want to do is feel stressed by it. You might be stressed, but if you're overly stressed and you're overly worked and you feel like you're just running on a hamster wheel trying to get this stuff done, pull some of it back and just concentrate on less. So once you've figured out and gone through that list and figured out the 2 to 3 things that are super important to you to implement and to try using those tactics before, is it going to save you time and money? And it doesn't even have to be saving you time and money. Maybe it's saving, maybe you're implementing, or maybe you have a sale. Let's like break this down. Maybe you have your sales process, right? I love talking about the sales process. So we'll talk about sales process. And your goal, and one of the things you want to do is tighten up your sales process, and you want to make it better. So you can take your sales process, break it down, and not only is it going to save you time to tighten it up, but it's going to help save new leads or your clients time as well. It's going to make it easier for them. It's going to make your process easier for them. It's going to create a different customer experience. So how is that providing value? It's providing value because not only is it making it easier for your customers, but now it can make it easier for you because you have this process that they're going through, and you actually have a process in place to get it done versus a scattered process. So that's saving you time and potentially making you more money because now you're more efficient in your sales process, and you're also selling more because you're more efficient. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, okay, I'm looking at this. Figure out how it's going to save you time and or how it's going to make you money. And it may not smack you in the face, but what you're thinking about or what an idea you heard might save time and money differently in one company versus yours. So you really need to look at these things and figure out how it's going to do that, because it keeps saying time and money, and everything that you're looking to do could be a time and money value for your clients and not just you or your company. It could be a time and money value for your team members and not just the owner or just not the business. So you need to think about everything in a broad picture and really narrow it down and figure out which one you need to do for your company right now. And every company is going to be different, but it needs to have value in your company. And what is going to provide the most value for you, and pick those couple of things. And then you need to start them, you need to implement them, you need to start depositing your time and money into them because it's going to take time and money to implement them. And then you need to start nurturing it and allowing it to mature, because it should start saving you time without even thinking about it. It should eventually start working when you're not around, or when a team member's not around. Someone else should be able to pick it up. It doesn't require constant tweaking. So anything you do and anything you implement, you're going to need to change over time, and it's going to need to be changed a little bit, and it's going to need to be tweaked, because that is what implementing something new is. You start it, and then you see holes or gaps in it, and then you tweak it a little bit, right? But it shouldn't need a complete overhaul. And once you've started implementing something and it feels boring, but it's working, that's when you know you've won. Because when it's boring and it's working, producing results, it's producing a return on your investment, that is when you know you've hit the mark, and then you can move on. Good morning, Roy. How are you? Thanks for joining me, man. So what is this shift that we need to do as far as implementing new projects or new processes in our company, and taking this entire list that we want to do and breaking it down? So the goal with anything isn't to do less forever. It's to do fewer things first, right? So you have this entire list. You don't only want to just do one or two of things forever, but we want to do one or two things now get them going, and then pick one or two or three things, get them going, and now you're compounding your entire company. You don't want to throw all of the shit against the wall and hope some of it sticks. You want to throw some of it and get it all to stick over time. It's a long game. And honestly, what I see happen all the time is there's too many changes that are chosen for a particular year or for a particular time period, and they get chosen all at once. And none of them get done well. They start moving, but you know what happens then? They stall, they don't stick, they get forgotten, and then they're not done at all. They eventually get pushed to the side, forgotten about, that's a great idea, it was starting to work, but then they put it up on the shelf, and then before you even know it, you're back to where you started. You got nothing done. So that's why we really need to change our mindset as to what to implement, change the way you think about it, and then pick a couple, implement a couple, get them compounding, get them running, pick a couple more, put them on top of that, and now you have compounded interest, if you will, and your processes, your ideas, the things you want to do in your company, the things you want to implement in your company, just keep compounding over and over again like a snowball. As you're rolling down the hill, you're picking up new things, and your snowball is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you have this awesome machine running. Everything is clicking, and you can look back and say, man, I killed it. So that's what I got for this new year. I really appreciate everybody joining me. I will be back next week, hopefully not needing as much coffee, because this morning was a coffee morning. And if you could do me a favor, if this helped you in any way, if you found value in it, if you could share it, that would be amazing. I would really appreciate that. I appreciate everybody for showing up here at 9 a.m. Eastern on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if you want to hear some back episodes for right now, I'm going to start posting them. I actually launched my podcast, as I said in the beginning, and I will be having some guests on, which is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. And this is one of my things that I am implementing this year, is just getting my message out. And I really want to help as many people as I possibly can, because all of this stuff really helped me, and I see it helping others that I'm helping now. And while it's not a sprint, everything that I help with is certainly a marathon. But once you start getting down the road and seeing the value in it, it really helps save time, make more money, and just have fun. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have an awesome rest of your day. Before you go, if you want to learn more about what we're all about, head on over to KairouCX.com. You can reach out to us there, or just dig in and learn more about how we can help businesses and help businesses like yours at Kairou CX. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Follow Through.